There are three current Central Library employees who were working here in the building at the time of the 1986 Central Library fire, and I'm one of them. My name is Robert Anderson, and I am the fiction subject specialist for the Central Library's Literature and Fiction Department. Right at the moment, I'm sitting in what is today the Teenscape Department of Central Library. For the first 60 years of Central Library's existence, this was the fiction reading room of the library. The fire began in the closed stacks just off of this reading room. I had an assignment which happened to put me in the closed stacks right above where the fire began. We had no sensation that anything major was happening. It was one more fire alarm. We cleared out the people from the reading room, and then everybody left the building. Somebody noticed smoke coming up from the upper part of the building, and it became very clear that it was a major fire. We were told that we should come into work the second day, and I do have a photo of myself and several co-workers in front of the library waiting to find out what we were going to be doing that day. For the most part, the reading rooms of the library were okay. The fire department had done a great job of limiting the fire almost entirely to the closed stack areas. Now, whether it was an arson fire or not, at this point, I can't say. We were told unequivocally at the time of the fire by the fire department that it was an arson fire. So I've always believed that it was an arson fire. In more recent years, there have been sources, in particular, the library book, the book that Susan Orlean wrote, where she interviewed fire experts who felt that perhaps it was an electrical fire or some other mishap. While approximately 400,000 books were lost to fire, there were about 700,000 books that were water damaged because they spent hours trying to put that fire out. The city had empty freezers that we could use to freeze the collection for future freeze drying in order to prevent mold from forming. They managed, between the library staff and the volunteers, to get everything that we needed to get out of the building by the end of the weekend. I believe it was until about fall of the following year that we were still working in the building. It was not an easy place to work in because there was a lot of smoke in there, especially initially. We just used the card catalogs in the departments to do an inventory of the collection. We pulled all the books off the shelves and checked them against the card catalog just to show that we still had that book. And eventually started working part-time at a warehouse. That was where all the dry books had been moved. We had just a few library tables and chairs there that we worked from as our offices. So they eventually found the title insurance building at 433 South Spring Street. They sent the books that had been in freezers for a couple of years to be freeze-dried and started working on those books and inventorying those books and cleaning them in a lot of cases. We were also involved in shelving the collection. That was really a major undertaking because the books had been packed out from different parts of the library all at the same time. Reshelving those books was like putting together a giant jigsaw puzzle. We did finish in the spring of 1989, and we finally opened there on Spring Street. There's a photo of me at the literature reference desk on Spring Street. We were on Spring Street for 4 years. Everybody, I think, was just happy to be back working with the public again and having access to what was left of the collection. We were working on trying to buy replacement books for what had been lost. And then we closed for the summer so that we could move the collection into the renovated Central Library. It was a very exciting time to be back in the building. It was a vast improvement over what we had had before the fire, as well as restoring as much as we could of what had survived. It was a rough 7 years, and it certainly changed my life, but not entirely in a negative way. I definitely learned a lot about my own capabilities, and I got to know many of my coworkers quite a bit better because we were all working together on one big project for really well over a year. And at this time, when we're celebrating the Central Library's 100th anniversary, I really am glad that I had the opportunity to be involved in what is still today considered a pivotal part of the library's history.